So now you should have a decent idea of what the humanities are, and you've just learned about what religions are. So now it's time to put those together and describe what it is we'll be doing in our class. What will be our approach to studying religions? What specifically we will study, and what is the ultimate goal? Where do we want to end up by the time you are done here with us? Okay, let's go ahead and get started. So it should be no surprise to you, I hope, based upon what you've learned about humanities and the different approaches to religious diversity, that within a humanities course, we pretty much focus on the empathetic approach. We want to get a sense for the human condition, how people have experienced life, what they valued, how they've experienced meaning, not to judge them, but just to empathize with them, get a better understanding of how other human beings have lived a human life. Now, we're taking a cue from the ancient Greeks here, who acknowledged that there were various types of knowledge. That's weird, huh? They acknowledged that there were various types of knowledge. In particular, they know that there is a type of knowledge that is about experience. And I don't mean like what you've experienced in life, but the knowledge of what that experience feels like to you. That sort of knowledge is experiential. It's often represented or communicated symbolically and requires the use of your imagination. You know, when somebody tells you what their mother means to them, well, that's knowledge they have, right? They know how what their moms mean to them. But you won't know what what that's like unless you try to empathize with them, unless you try to imagine what they've gone through with their own mother. Maybe you can imagine what it feels like with your own parents. And then it's that through that sort of imagination where you reflect on your own experience that you might get a sense for where the other person's coming from, that sort of knowledge. Now, this person could tell you all the facts about their mom, you know, their age, how tall they are, all the things that their mom did for them. Those are that's referred to as logos knowledge. This is, you know, rational, factual knowledge. So this type of knowledge is different, right? You can test for this sort of knowledge. You can try to verify this sort of knowledge. If somebody tells you how many students there are in a classroom, you can take a look and count, right? You go, oh, there's 26 students here. That's logos knowledge. But then what that classroom feels like to you, what being in a class means to you, how valuable it feels like, the knowledge you're gaining feels like to you, well, that's not logos knowledge. We can't test that. We can't verify that. That's what you are going through. That's mythos knowledge. Another example of this is think about your favorite song. You can tell somebody the name of the song. You can describe to them the lyrics. You can tell them what band it's from. You can give them all the facts, right? So this person would have logos knowledge of your favorite song, but what that song means to you, I mean, that's something you feel. It's something that's experiential and subjective. Well, how can somebody else know that? Well, I mean, they can't really know it in the same way they know 1 plus 1 equals 2, but they can try to imagine. They can try to relate to you. They can try to empathize with you by maybe imagining their own favorite song and what that song means to them, and that might give them a sense of it, right? So notice a lot of this is symbolic. So what we are doing in our class is we are going to take both approaches with the purpose of really understanding or trying to get a sense for the mythos of mythos knowledge. In the ancient world, especially within ancient Greece, both types of knowledge, mythos and logos, were appreciated. But if you think about the modern world, there's an argument that we tend to appreciate logos knowledge over mythos. Notice that the word myth comes from the ancient Greek term mythos. And think about how we use that word now. We don't think of it as like some special type of knowledge or an important type of knowledge. We use the word myth to say falsehood. That was a myth, right? What you believe is a myth. But in the ancient world, myths were considered very important. I mean, how do you know what life is like? How do you know how other people have experienced life, what it felt like to them? Well, you read their stories, you read their myths. They weren't supposed to be stories that told you facts about life. There were stories that were supposed to give you a felt experience of what other people have gone through, what life had felt like to others. So for us, as we continue on with our course, we're going to try to strike a balance, as I mentioned a second ago. We're going to take a look at facts about religions, especially about their history and how they developed over time. But what we're trying to do is use that in order to better understand the human experience. As we take a look at how various religions developed and why they developed a certain way, we're not trying to see if they developed correctly. What we're trying to see is the reason for that development. Can we relate to that? Because then maybe we can relate to where they are now. And that's what we're really trying to do. So we will begin by taking a bird's eye view of transcendence. Remember that religions tend to focus on something transcendent. So we will take a look at various traditions outside of the Abrahamic ones to get a feel for how other cultures have thought about the sacred, have thought about the transcendent. And then we'll narrow our focus for the remainder of the term to the Abrahamic traditions. And we will get a sense for how they developed. And I say co-developed because for a lot of people, they don't realize how immersed these various traditions were and how much they influenced each other as things went on throughout time. And we're going to take a look at that to get a better sense for the people, as we mentioned a second ago. So the idea is we will eventually begin taking a look at the origins of these traditions in order to really get a better understanding of our world today and how the traditions of Judaism, Christianity, and Islam